Hello, hello. It's Donna here from Blind and Knitting. I hope you're all well. It's been a little while. There's been lots happening, so welcome to my podcast. This is my little corner of the world, and if anyone's watched before, you can see I've changed my corner of the world at the moment, where I talk about my knitting, my mental health, and hopefully giving strategies out around that, and all sorts of other crafts and bits and pieces, but mostly knitting. So I hope you're all well. It's been a while, as I said. This is episode 27, and it is the 16th of March, and I'm in the lower part of the North Island of New Zealand. So we're coming into our winter now. We're in autumn and heading to winter, which is really nice as a knitter, so I'm quite excited about that. I have a barrage of things all around me to share, lots of whips and an FO and lots of frogs, things that I've just ripped out that just haven't worked, so we'll talk through those, and lots of purchases. But you know, I promised myself I wouldn't be, they say that there's the knitter and then there's the person that collects wool, and I promised myself I wouldn't be that person that collects wool, but I have been this few months. But anyway, welcome. Kenzie, my guide dog, so I am legally blind. If you haven't watched before, I have just got a tiny piece of vision, which is about the size of my palm of my hand, and even that's a little bit blurry and goes in and out. It's kind of one of those eyesight diseases that's, I never know whether it's Arthur or Martha, but anyway, it is what it is. So I am legally blind. I do work with a guide dog, Kenzie, who's stretched out in front of me, sound asleep. She's had a fairly quiet morning, but she's been out and helped my partner feed the dogs. We live on a farm, and she gets a bit of a run around with all the farm dogs when they get out of their kennels, and she has friends with them, and then she comes back inside and becomes a house dog again until she has to work for me. But today's Sunday and she's not going to do any work. She's just sitting chilling. The weather today it's starting to overcast a bit, but it has actually been a beautiful day. We've had a terrible summer, and our autumn has been quite nice. So, mind you, March and April has always been kind of quite weather where you can kind of trust that it's going to be a little bit more settled. So we have had that in March and April, which is really lovely. But February, we did have summer, but it was on January the 23rd at 2 p.m. If you blinked, you missed it. That's about the only fine day we had all summer. It's just been rain, which has been great for knitting, but not so great for everything else. But because there's been so much fine weather, there's been a lot of social activities going on, and I have had over the last January, February and March, I can't remember the number, just checked my notes, 13 birthdays to celebrate with immediate family. I mean, that's wonderful, but 13, my goodness, I've had all sorts of birthdays over January, February and March and April. So that's taken up a considerable amount of time. And then, of course, New Zealand, if you haven't heard, or would have heard by now, we had a terrible cyclone up the North Island, up above us. We got hit a little bit. We had 3 days with no power, phone, toilet, water, internet or access to town. But really we got off quite lightly compared to a lot of people. Very sadly, there was some deaths from it. And my thoughts go out to everyone up north who are trying to recover. Being a social worker, I'm aware that it's the first 3 months after a tragedy. Well, the first month or so, they're still in shock. So it'll be now that the reality will be hitting in, and that's when people will be really starting to consider, wow, what's happened to them. So, my heart goes out to you. I do hope that, you can move forward in a healthy way. But of course, that did take some of my time away from podcasting as well, with no power. It was a bit like having romantic candlelit dinners with Stuart without the romance. We just sat there in the dark with candles, and thankfully we're on gas, so we were able to still cook. I also one weekend went to Australia. I think my last podcast I was talking about that it was going to happen. I was hoping to visit a knitting shop there. I think there is one where you can catch the light rail and it's out called, I think it's called something like Twisted Sisters. Unfortunately, I didn't get there. We just ran out of time. It just wasn't enough time at all. But that was my hope in Sydney. We were right in the CBD, so there's not many craft or wool shops there. It was all, typical city shops. So so I missed out on doing some shopping. I did, however, and when I go to Australia, I just get so excited by the craft books in their book stores. We don't get a lot over here. And when I go over there, I tend to buy all these lovely, beautiful craft books because, knitting and crocheting and sewing books. I just love it. So I did buy some books and I will show those at some stage through the podcast. Excuse me. Then, of course, we had Easter. We had all of my sister and my family, all of our grandkids come. When we all get together, there's 24 of us. We also had some family from Australia. My cousin's daughter who was staying with us, and we had a great big Easter hunt out on the farm. So we had the Easter bunny created nests with straw and all along the trees, and the kids just had a fantastic time. It was just lovely. So really special time, lots of memories. So very special time. That also took up another weekend. So again, then I had one of my grandchildren for the weekend, and my veggie garden was just flourishing. So that kind of took a lot of that weekend, was bringing produce in really, and teaching Braden about how you pull a carrot out with pulling all the other carrots out at the same time. So it's been a heck of a busy few months, really, and which isn't surprising. It usually is around March. It does get busy. But I have had the opportunity to do some knitting, as I said, with the weather, and I've also had some opportunity to do some sewing. So this is my finished object. So we're going to talk about whips and finished objects and my frogging, but this is my finished object. So I'll stand up if you can see it. It is a sun frock. It's a little bit flared. It's got a nice little belt, a lovely shape to it. But sort of stretchy material. I've lined the bodice, so that's fully lined. I haven't sewn for ages, and I thought, well, if I'm going to be blind and sew, I might as well make the most of it. And I did a V-neck, fully lined sun frock with a belt. Why not make things, don't make things too easy, otherwise, Anyway, I enjoyed knitting this, and Kenzie's scratching the carpet. She never does that. That's really weird. You know how dogs scratch the carpet when they turn around? She never does that, but she is getting older, I suppose, and doing all those funny dog things. So back to this. So I brought the material at Evans's, which is a fabric shop in my hometown, Masterton, and I think it was about $60, so it's an investment, but it's still, by the time, if you added sewing hours, it took me 6 hours, I timed it, exactly 6 hours to make. So if you added that on, it can be quite pricey, and then you wonder why some frocks, some dresses that for sale are up to $300. Well, by the time you add hours on and material and fabric, and I didn't put a zip in this. The pattern did say for a zip, but because it's quite stretchy and it's a nice fit, luckily it just pops on and off. And I've got to be honest and say, as I've got older, I've got really lazy. So if I don't have to put a zip in, I won't. When you bag it out with your lining, I just sewed across there. My hem is just sewn and not hand sewn or anything like that. Let's just say, if I turned it inside out, my sewing teacher would be rolling in her grave. I'm sorry, Mrs. Rawlings, my original sewing teacher. The inside is not that pretty, but the outside's great, and I love it. It's really comfy. This is the first time I've worn it, and I'm going to take it off after this podcast because I've got a shovel poo in the chook house. So not the appropriate dress. I don't know if any of you in my era remember Green Acres with Zsqw. If I wore this with my red bands and shoveling poo, which is Green Acres is the place for me. Anyway, finished object number 1. So I really enjoyed sewing this. I matched the pattern very well. I sound like that TV show, not Come Sew With Me, what's it called? The sewing, Great British Sewing competitions. I sound like I'm doing my own thing there, but yeah, it was great fun. So, finished object. I don't have any finished objects knitting wise, but I do have some getting through some considerable whips, and as I said, there's also some frogging. So let's see how we go. I'm going to drink a little bit of water so that I can talk. Lemon in this one. I think last time I had lemon out of my garden this time. Always like a little bit of taste in it. So the first one is the whip that goes on, and that's my Birkin. Now I won't talk greatly about this because I know I've talked about it in every podcast, but I've done quite a bit to it. It's not finished, I admit, but there we go. Look at that. So I've done all of that, and I'm just about up to the rib. I've stopped at the rib because I didn't realise the pattern, my sight thing again, and I didn't read the pattern, is a split hem. Now I don't mind a split hem, but what it said was start decreasing for there's about 7 or 8 rows before you split for the hem, where you decrease, which would obviously bring it in a bit. I don't think that's going to suit an hourglass. I think that it's going to make my bum stick out the splits. So I'm tossing up whether to split or whether to just do an ordinary hem, and I'm leaning towards an ordinary hem. Now I didn't enjoy the process of doing this, I have to say, and I've said that all along, but I absolutely love knitting with this wool. So now that I'm on just the round and round, I am really enjoying this wool, and it's almost like I'm savouring it. When you've got something that you just love knitting and you just savour it. It's merino silk yak, and it's just divine to knit. And so I am taking my time with this. It's not winter, so I don't need it yet. In fact, I'd cook if I put it on now. So I am savouring it from now, because this has been such a nightmare. I really want to finish it saying that I at least enjoyed some of it. So ready to put the rib on the bottom, and yeah, that's where that's at. That's my Birkin. So still ticking along, still definitely one of my active whips, but it's one of those ones that when I've just had a busy day or I've had no headspace and I just want to savour some beautiful wool and some beautiful knitting, I pick this up and do a few rounds, which is lovely. The next whip, I don't know, I'll just pick up a bag. I think I haven't got them in any order. Alright, so this is my Rocket Tea, and I can't remember who that's by. I think it's Petite Knits. I haven't done anything on it since my last podcast firstly because it's a summer tea and we're coming into winter, so I have stopped it. But secondly, I'm not sure if I like the colours. I'm not sure. Maybe I can have a look at this podcast when I finish and see what that looked like out. But I just don't know. I don't know. And I don't know if I want to knit something that I don't know. So I've kind of put it in the naughty corner, I suppose. What I did do is I put each of the colours in a bag, and I've numbered them. So 6. So that's obviously number 6 in it, but I missed out number 3. So that also made me put it in the naughty corner. I thought, you've put the wrong stripe and you've missed a colour. Not that anyone would ever know. So it's just been sitting there. So I haven't really done a great deal on that one. Really don't know what to do about that. That might end up being a rip, but then I can't see what else to do with that wool. Not sure. So things have been mad busy at work, just a couple of weeks ago I worked a 60-hour week. I've been doing, I do work 6 days a week, and it's not a pity party. It's just a fact, but it's just at the moment things have been ridiculously busy, and it's been quite nice to come home and just chill with some knitting. But I haven't had, what I've wanted is something that's just where I can get some progress quickly. I was cleaning out my cupboards, and I found, it literally fell out of the box, a whole lot of cream wool that I'd brought, because I saw the receipt was still in there, in June 2010, so 13 years ago, no, 2010, yeah, 13 years ago. So I brought this wool 13 years ago with the hope to make a big oversized cardigan to wear around home. And I brought a pattern that had a hood on it, and I started making it, and I thought, why are you doing this? You don't wear hoods. You're not a hoodie sort of person. So I ripped it, and then I put it in the cupboard and forgot all about it. So it's an Aran weight, and it's quite thick. It is unspun, so oops, I don't want to pull it out, and sometimes it can be a bit, so it's an unspun Aran weight, if you can see that. Beautiful cream. The cream is one of my colours again. It is called, oh my goodness, Click Heaton Kaleidoscope. It's a Aran weight, unspun, 100% pure wool. As I say, 13 years ago, so you won't get that again. And I bought 20 skeins of it, 20 50-gram skeins, because I was going to make this great big, it's all fluffy, oversized jersey, but didn't. So I thought, right, I was watching a podcast the other day, and it was the lovely lady on the Finnish store, the Finnish Tales, Jana, and she had just finished this, and it's called the Fairy Bouquet. And so I have been working on this Fairy Bouquet. I don't know if you can see the pattern very well. I assume it's supposed to look like a flower. Love the sleeve. Down the sleeve is this all the way down, and down the, I hope you can see this because I can't see what I'm showing you, so, and also down the side there's a cable, just a one stitch cable. Really enjoying knitting it. I did start knitting it and didn't swatch. I thought, if it doesn't fit me, I'll dye it black and give it to my granddaughter who just wears black. It's, you know, it's something I can dye and give to someone else, but it is my colour. And so I did the rib, and I started doing under the neck, and I didn't like the fabric. It was too thick, it was too hard. It's quite it's a blanket type wool. It's as I say, it's unspun, so it's very thick, and it's beautiful, but it is going to be a very warm sort of, it's going to be one of those ones that on a bitterly cold day I throw over with a pair of jeans, or yeah, if we're going for it's somewhere where it's going to be really cold, a barbecue at night and we're sitting outside, that sort of thing. That's definitely what it's going to be. So I'm getting through that. So it is, if I can find the pattern, I'm knitting it on, I started with 4.5s and I went up to a 5 because, as I say, I didn't like the fabric. Its gauge is 19 inch, and I do have gauge, but it's a full gauge. I don't know if that makes sense. I've got gauge, I've got the right amount of stitches, but the stitches are quite full and they take a lot of the space. So there's the pattern, Fairy Bouquet, and it is by, I can't read that, designed by, I'll have to just put it down the bottom, link it in the bottom. So that's the pattern. I just love it. It's really pretty. I suspect this one is done with mohair, DK and mohair, but I just, because the colours, this colour went with that colour. So that is my Fairy Bouquet. It's a cute little pattern on the sleeve, and it's super easy. Yeah, and I can see it really well, but it's going to be quite a blankety, solid, really warm cardigan. But I just wanted something that was, I could see progress quite quickly. I'd been, you know, sort of pounding along on that Birkin, and you don't get a lot of progress quickly. And I thought, right, Aran weight and big needles. That is going to be my, when I just feel I need some satisfaction. So it's funny how you knit for different reasons, and I do very much knit depending on the mood I'm in. So I either knit with something like my beautiful Happy Go Knitty wool, where I just really want to savour it and take my time, or I come home and I just want to knit something big and chunky and get something there. I think, yeah, get some, you know, progress on it. So it's funny how you knit things for how you're feeling. So that's that one. I'm just picking up bags, guys, so I don't know what I'm picking up. This one, now this was my frog. I frogged it. I was given this beautiful wool by Mariana from Strawberry Patches, and I won this lovely piece of lovely wool from Cairn through Skeins, and I was going to knit a Rubicon, which is a pointed DK, and I thought these two would look great together. I got nearly halfway through, and I got more, the more I got of this wool onto this wool, and they just didn't go. This wool had way too much gold in it. It doesn't look like it now. It looks like it would match beautifully, but if you have a look, you might be able to see that it's got quite a bit of sort of gold, and it's a greeny gold, and it just did nothing for the pink. So I knew it didn't go. I kept knitting it thinking, I'm sure this doesn't look right, sure this doesn't look right. And in the end, somebody else, I asked at my knitting group, and they said, yeah, those colours aren't quite right. And I just ripped it there and then. Still want to do the Rubicon, still love the idea of the pink, but I just need to find some sort of a pink burgundy pewter colour that doesn't have those golds and greens in it, so that I can make the Rubicon, because I definitely still want to do it. I'm wearing a lot of my shawls at the moment. This is the kind of mid-season weather when you don't want a coat or you don't want a hot jersey, but you do want something around your shoulders, around your neck. So I am wearing a lot of my shawls at the moment. We also have had quite a few barbecues, and we've had a lot here, so I've been throwing shawls out to people who have been sitting outside, and they've been wrapping their shawls around me. We had a lovely visit from my partner's brother and wife who live in the Philippines, and I felt really sorry for this lovely lady. She you know, lives in the Philippines, and she comes over to New Zealand, and we sit outside in our barbecues. And you know what we like, us Kiwis, we sit outside until there's moths are flying past, and you know, and we're all a bit cold, but we've got our gumboots and our jerseys on, and yeah, so she ended up wrapping something up in one of my shawls. So that was my frog. That was what I frogged. I'll have a break. I'll talk about some of my books, and then we'll go back to more knitting, because I've got more bags here. Right, I did join something called the Creative Communities, Creative Fibre, I should say, and it is a New Zealand group or agency that acts on behalf of people who sell wool, sell patterns, just advertise knit groups, anything to do with fibre. So I decided to join because it was cheap as chips. It was something like $30 a year. Great price. So I got my first magazine. I don't know how often you get them. I'm assuming bi-monthly or something. The irony is I haven't read it yet because I can't read yet. I've got to use my machine to read, and I've been too busy. But I can see it's full of all sorts of fun stuff. It's got some interviews from people. So Barbara Kingsolver, novelist, essayist, oh that's a new word, essayist, poet and knitter. So there's an interview there. There's advertising of wools, fibre art, tapestry. My mum used to do tapestry. I remember doing tapestry when I was a girl too. Maybe it's coming back in. That's actually, I could do tapestry because it's quite big with big holes in the, what's it called, that white, the can't remember what it's called now, you know, that embroidery, the base. I couldn't do embroidery now because it's just too fine. I think I could, but only 1 or 2 stitches at a time. My partner's mowing the lawn, so he's going to go past on his ride on. So that's that noise. Sorry guys. Every now and then you're just going to get that. Yeah, there's a pattern in it. There's advertising. There's tips. I'm quite looking forward to reading that. That'll be great. Great bit of reading over winter. The other thing it had when I joined was you paid $6 for a creative fibre diary. Not that I need a little diary, but I brought it so that, is that focusing? Yeah. So you can obviously fill it. It's got some advertising in it. I don't think it's got patterns in it, but it's got dates of things that are happening. That's quite cool, isn't it? A nice little vest. So it just tells you who the people are, and you can write your things in it. I suppose you could write your progress of your whatever you're making. I could actually do that. That'd be quite good. I could put my podcast dates in there and my dates of knitting. But anyway, that came too. That's creative fibres. I think what you can do is they have a website as well, and they have anything that's happening around New Zealand, like any fibre festivals or creative things that are going on. You can go in there and they keep a calendar of all those sorts of things, and you can look it up. So I think that'll be quite handy. The other thing is at Christmas I got a lovely, we do a $50 secret Santa for the whole family. So we all pick one person, and we pick a surprise person and buy a $50 voucher. Now my secret Santa gave me $50 for Miss Maud's, which is the most beautiful shop in Greytown in the Wairarapa, which is not far from me at all. Again, I don't know if that's focusing. So Miss Maud's is the most beautiful shop, and so I thought, what am I going to spend $50 on? So I rang them, and they said, well, you can spend it online, because I was having trouble getting down there. So I looked on their website and I saw this lovely book, 52 Weeks of Easy Knits, and it was $49.95. So Donna ordered it, and it has got the most lovely patterns, and some of them are a bit simple for me, like a bit easy. I haven't gone through it completely, but I am looking forward to going through it. It doesn't have a digital one, so if there's a pattern in there, oh, that's quite cute, I like that. Not into stripes, haven't knitted much stripes, so I'm not sure whether I will. So that's 52 Weeks of Stripes by, it's by Lyn. So it's the same one that did 52 Weeks of Socks and 52 Weeks of Shawls, so I can put those all together. I'm really looking forward to doing some. There was a couple of patterns in there I thought, yep, I can do those. Some of them I thought, they're a bit easy, but then I thought, the grandkids might start knitting because they want to learn to knit. There's some, there's those sort of square bolero things that a youth could make, and yeah, lovely, lovely book. So thank you, Secret Santa. I've spent my $50. Very clever marketing, because what they've done, she's gone, thanks Donna. She's even remembered me, thanks Donna, which is lovely, the lady that runs the shop, and she sent me a sample of a piece of material. I thought, well, that's clever, because that's like, oh, that is pretty, I could do something with that. Clever marketing, Miss Maud's. If you're ever in Greytown in the Wairarapa, well worth a visit. So, gosh, I was saying how busy it's been, and I guess you can tell by how I've got so much here, and it's just been so busy, and I think sometimes we forget to just sit back and enjoy, and we often talk about mindfulness and living in the moment, and a lot of people don't even know what mindfulness means. It's like, when I say, do you act mindfully? Do you work mindfully? Do you rest mindfully? And they say, well, look at me like, well, I just don't get what that means. And so I was going to get a piece of chocolate, but It doesn't happen. So I can't even do it with that, but I can do it with water. So, when you're drinking water, you're just sort of drinking it and getting on with it. But to drink mindfully is to actually really look at the water. And now I'm really going to look forward to this because it's chilled water out of my fridge that's been filtered. It's lemon out of my garden, and yeah, it's beautiful. Oh. That is mindfulness. So that's the difference, and it's what I do with my Birkin, with that beautiful wool, is I sit and knit in a mindful way, because that wool helps me to do that. And this is something that we all need to do to calm the farm, to settle this part of the brain down, the prefrontal cortex, the thinking part of the brain. As I said, the last few months have just been mad busy for me, and I was worried I was starting to get decision fatigue. I just couldn't make decisions. Stuart asked me something about breakfast yesterday, and it was like, I just can't, I was like this, and I said, I just can't make another decision, and I thought, right, I've actually got to stop and just be mindful and just step off that treadmill and just relax. So I did from yesterday afternoon on, because I kind of woke up to the fact that I was sort of lamenting about not being able to make decisions, and I thought, no, I've got to watch myself. I've got to walk the talk. So I'm walking the talk. So ever since yesterday morning, I've done everything with a mindful manner. I've watched a program on TV that I really enjoy, and I've just sat and enjoyed it. I haven't done everything. I haven't, sort of knitted, had a book on my lap, had the TV going and a podcast running at the same time. Often we call it dopamine diet. So going on a dopamine diet. So we do tend to, I'll put my drink down, layer our levels of pleasure on top of each other. So we don't just do one thing that we enjoy well. We tend to, and exactly what I'm saying, I'll sit there with the TV going, I'll have a podcast on my phone, I'll have my knitting in my hand, I'll have another thing of knitting, I'll have some work on the other side with my diary, and my brain just needs a dopamine diet, because that's all these dopamine hits going off in too much. With every high there's a low, so you've got to be aware of that when you with your mental health. So the last couple of days I've had a dopamine diet. I've just worked really mindfully. When I've sat and had breakfast, I've just sat and enjoyed the taste of the breakfast. I did burn the hash browns, didn't help that much. But that's just life. But I did actually sit down and think, oh yeah, I really want to enjoy these. I'm looking forward to going out in the veggie garden this afternoon. However, I have hurt my neck. I don't know how. I'm dum-dum. I think I've slept funny, but I think I've put my neck out, so it's quite sore. So I don't know whether shoveling will be the thing that'll help or to hinder. So that's kind of my mental health talk today is, take a breath. Let's have a dopamine diet. Do one thing you enjoy and enjoy it. Don't pile all of these layers of things that if you go for a walk and enjoy the walk. Don't take your music, your iPod, your audio book, your camera, because you might take a photo of something that you're interested in. Don't just walk. Don't layer things on top of each other. Just for a while. Just let that prefrontal cortex, this part here of your brain, above right at the top, is called your prefrontal cortex. It's the thinking part of your brain. This is the part that does all your decision making, all your knowing right from wrong, all of your personality, your empathy for other people. If that's not working right, it impacts on your whole life, as you can understand, knowing right from wrong, decision making, empathy. Well, they'll make some huge impacts. So there we go, dopamine diet and mindfulness. If you have a piece of chocolate, don't just stick it in your gob and swallow it. Smell it, sense it, take a bite, enjoy that bite. What does it feel like? What does it taste like? What does it smell like? How does it go when I swallow it? What's the aftertaste? Really enjoy it. Enough of that. let's get on with some knitting, which is another thing that I enjoy for my mental health. That is one of my mental health strategies is knitting. So I'll pick up another bag. Oh. Right, yeah, I've done that one. This one, well, so back in January I decided to do the Stephen West knit along 1 year of socks with all of his socks. Cost $60. It was quite a commitment. I thought, right, I've learned to love socks. I've learned to love knitting socks. I love wearing knitted socks. Let's try and stretch my learning a bit more. And I thought, well, who better to stretch my learning with but Stephen West. So I signed up, $60. Then I realised I had no sock wool around, apart from one where I could start the first sock. And so I ordered some sock wool from the two places, the lovely Lisa from Unwind and Knit With Me, and I will show you those shortly, and also from Mariana from Strawberry Patches, so that I can be prepared for my 52 pairs of socks. Not my 52 pairs, yes it is, it's socks a month, so it's 12 pairs of socks, plus he did 2 pair on January, so it's 13 pair of socks. So where am I at with this knit along? I am, here's my pair of socks. Sorry, should have got that. This is my pair of socks that I started in January. And that's as far as I've got. So in 4 months I've done 2 inches of ribbon on one pair of socks. So this cuff has cost me $200 something if I don't make any more socks. Well, I mean, it's been summer and I've been really busy, so I do need to be kind on myself. But the other thing is that I actually dropped about 5 stitches and they unpicked, they unravelled, and this is quite a tricky colour for me to see, and so I got grumpy with that, threw it in the naughty corner. I'm questioning whether circulars, 9-inch circulars, are the right thing to do the colour work with, because these are colour work, and that's going to be the complementary colour to go with it. But I need to give it a go. The idea was to learn, and you know when you're learning something and you just haven't learnt it yet, and you've got that feeling, and so you're either ready to go, oh, I can't be bothered, or it's like, right, just sit down and get through it. Well, I'm kind of at that stage. So what I need is a weekend with nothing on, where I can actually sit down and really concentrate. Okay, so I'm not going to get 52. Why do I say that? Oh, because of the 52 weeks of jerseys. I'm not going to get 13 pair of socks done this year, am I? I mean, I've just got to be real. It's month 4 now, and I should have had 5 pair, and I've got a cuff. Oh gosh. Anyway, and that could be a very expensive cuff if I don't do it. So that is my Stephen West knit along that I am supposedly working on. We are getting into more weather that is knitting weather, or that has been knitting weather. I have to admit, the weather's been terrible, but we are getting into more, colder weather where you tend to light the fire. We've had the fire going a couple of times, and you bunker down a bit earlier. It's getting darker at night time, so the curtains are being shut about 6, and yeah, so that's a nice time to get some knitting done. But I do need the headspace to do the Stephen West one, because it is a learning thing. And at the moment, with the way work is at the moment, I've employed some new staff. I've done, contracts and job descriptions and wages and all of that sort of stuff, pay scales. And my head is just chocker. Excuse me. So, excuses. Not an excuse. It's a reason. It feels better. It's a reason, not an excuse. So what's next on the pile? These are the books that I brought when I was over in Sydney. I did tell you I go over there and I love their books. So that's going to be my winter reading. Well, reading, she says. I don't really read them. I flip through them nicely. I've got knit group today, so I'll bring those to my knitting club. With a lovely group of ladies that we meet once a month, and also some of us meet once a week. But I'll take these to knitting club today, and they will enjoy looking through those. And so will I. One of them was, where's that one? Oh, there's so many. They're all a lot of crochet ones. That one there is knitting, and yet again I found that it was really basic stuff, but sometimes you just like that brain dead, although that's quite pretty. A little bit of lace. I think for me it is more, they just motivate and stimulate me. That's quite cool. See, that's something that my granddaughter would wear. Yeah. Anyway, fun to have a look at. So that was one of my Australia purchases. I'm actually heading over there again soon because it's my grandson's first birthday, and so I can't miss that. It's hard enough having grandchildren over there now and not being able to see everything, but I am heading over there soon again. Oh, I wonder what that's out of. I think that might be out of my sock bag, because that is a 9-inch circular. I'll put it there and I'll put it away later. Where am I at? So, any more bags? Have I got any more bags? 1, 2. No, I think that's pretty much it. I know that my knitting hasn't changed. Well, it has. The fairy bouquet jersey is a new one, but the rest of them haven't changed so much. But this time of the year, that's to be expected. So now I'm going to get on to a few more purchases. As I said, I have brought a considerable amount. It's been sale time, knitting places. Skeins, which is one of our biggest mills in New Zealand, is had a big, it's called an epic sale, and I fell in for the epic sale. I got caught in it, didn't I? I was sitting there with my phone one night and it's epic sale, must finish Sunday. Well, it was Sunday, so I thought, oh, I've got to have a look at that. But I bought some good stuff actually. Because I do like Skeins wool. Skeins wool is a wool that I've used quite a bit. I think if you can see my knits here, there's quite a few. That's a Skeins wool. Those pink ones are Skeins wools. That's cream ones are Skeins wool. So I do like Skeins wool. So I promised my partner that I would knit him one, and they had vintage, 10-ply vintage, which I've knitted before. That's actually this. Oh, which one is it? That one there, which is a vest, is that. And this colour that Stuart chose himself. See if I've got one out of the packet. Oh, there it is. So it's 10-ply, 100% pure wool, called Vintage Abroad. It's a Skeins wool, which is a Napier, and it's just a nice sort of neutral cream, and I can't read the colour. Porcelain. I can read the colour. Porcelain. So there we go. So Stuart wants a jersey. Well, I said I'd knit him one. I don't know whether he really wants one or not because he's got plenty, but hey ho, I'll knit him one. And I thought I would knit him I knit this one last year or the year before, I can't remember, and it's called the Anchor sweatshirt, and I love this. And you can get the Anchor summer one and you can get the Anchor winter one. This is I've done this in just a cheap wool that I brought from Uncle Bill's, which is kind of a warehouse place in town, but it is 100% wool, and I love this yoke. And I thought, oh yeah, I think that would be good for Stuart. So you can get this pattern called My Boyfriend's Anchor. I think it's a petite knit. To check that, but that's what I'm going to knit him, because I enjoyed knitting that, and it flew off the needles. Whoops. And especially with a 10-ply. So I don't know when it's going to happen, but that's what that wool was for. Put that. I'm not going to be able to get out of here. It's this wall. So I couldn't buy Stuart some wool without buying myself some wool, could I? Gosh, God forbid. So I bought myself a jersey lot. Oh, by the way, because the sale was an epic sale, That cost me $49 for a jersey lot, 14 skeins, so 14 50-gram skeins. So I think that will make a very cheap jersey, you know, $50 for a pure wool men's jersey. I know you don't take the hours knitting into consideration, because then you are getting the price up, but that's not bad. So I brought myself some of the same wool. I'll find a one that's open. Vintage 10 ply again, abroad, and the colour is, no, definitely can't read that. Oh yes, can. Rose water. The reason I can read it is because I kind of remember it, so it's recognisable. And it's a really pretty, it's a funny colour. It's sometimes it looks pink, because that looks quite pink there. Sometimes it looks quite apricot-y, but it's just a very gentle apricot cream pinky colour. I suppose rose water is a good name for it. And so I thought that would be just a nice for, I'm thinking just a really simple cardigan, because my little, that also is the skeins wool there, and that's my little short sleeve little top jersey cardigan, and I love it. I wear that a lot. In fact, I'm going to wear it with this cardigan. So that's, I bought 14 skeins of that, again $50. You know, that's pretty good going, and good price for a jersey. May not be this year even, doesn't matter. That's the thing with wool. Look at that, I'm knitting my boutique fairy bouquet. I bought 13 years ago, and I'm knitting it now. So, but I did almost have cast on itis, and I thought, oh. So because of the sale, and I bought those two, and I thought, oh, that's good buying. I thought, oh, I'll have a look and just see what, you know, little bits left over are. I have really enjoyed my weekender vest, and I've got so many comments from people from it, you know. And when I was in Sydney, although I didn't go to knitting shops or wool shops, I did go dress shopping with my girlfriend. That was her mission really, was to get some clothes for work. There was a lot of vests, and I believe they're all the fashion at the moment, so got to stick to the fashion. So I thought, right, if I can, these were on sale, and I'm sorry I can't tell you how much they were because I purely can't remember. Cascade 220 merino, so it's 100% merino. Is, I'm assuming 220 means the mileage the length, the amount, I don't know what that is, but I love the colour. So this is going to be hopefully a vest, and I think that'll look really nice. I've got a blue and white striped skirt, very flowing skirt, which is quite heavy, sort of a gypsy style, but very sort of heavy cotton, and I think this will look lovely with that skirt. So that's going to be a weekender, and I only bought two hanks of that, so I'm hoping that that'll be enough, because my weekender is actually too long. Not too, it's almost too long. It feels too long to me, but everybody keeps saying no, it's fine. But I do wear it with skirts, but I think it'd look better with jeans. But I am considering taking the rib off the bottom and ripping it up and doing the rib. It almost needs the rib amount removed and a new rib put on. But I can do that at any time, I suppose, and I might get used to it that length. So the other one I brought was the same. These must have been a super sale, because, and I can't remember how much they were. This was a few weeks ago. Again, it's Cascade 220 merino from Skeins, and this is a scrummy colour. This is just me. And I brought 4 of those, so you know that could be something like another anchor, or I don't want to knit the same twice. It's not really my jam. I know people do that. Having said that, I'm going to knit the weekender, although I might find another one. But I did get 4 of these, so that's not enough for. I need 5 for a full length jersey cardigan, long sleeve, because I'm a big one. but that might do something with short sleeves, and that's quite good for me because I get so hot. So I know that they were super cheap and they were the end of lines, but my apologies, can't remember. So 4 of the, or did I get 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I got 4. So 4 of the fawn, pretty caramelly fawn, and 2 of the nice sort of tealy colour. So they'll keep me amused and happy. I don't think there's anything else in the bag. No, there isn't. So that was one purchase. Then I thought, because I've made my dress and I was really enjoying the sewing, having said that I haven't touched the sewing machine again since, but it's all out ready to go. There was we've got this thing called Marketplace. It's a Facebook sale thing, and I'm assuming it's an international thing, but so I was just flipping through Marketplace, and this advertisement for a box, cardboard box, and she said it's scrap material, ends of line, $50, you know, good, just whatever you get, don't, you know, no questions, just. And I thought, right, it got $50 from, I won lotto and I had $50, and I thought, right, well, there we go, that's meant to be. So I brought this box and she dropped it off to work, and oh my gosh, there's some fantastic material in there. I just can't wait to get sewing. I just can't wait to have time to do some sewing. I've just been so busy. I'm so excited. Oh, I'm not going to show you it all, but there are 2 grocery bags full of and I've put them in 2. So this grocery bag is full of enough to do something big, like for example trousers, a dress, or yes, dress there, trousers, beautiful skirt, that would be a lovely skirt. So those are all big, you know, 3-ish meters or so. And then I put the other bag is all smaller, but it's enough to make shirts, you know, nice shirts, or a t-shirt or tank top or a vest, really lovely stuff. So lotto, $50 in, $50 out to Marketplace, and I've probably got several $100s worth of fabric. I'm absolutely chuffed with that. I have no idea where I'm going to store it. I almost contemplated buying a caravan and having it as my craft place. Stuart doesn't want a caravan on the section. I thought if I could just get a nice caravan that not to travel around in, but to have set up as my own little space. Because I don't know what I'm going to do with all this stuff. I really don't. So what else? I had a girlfriend who lives up north, Annika, sent me a parcel she'd been cleaning out, and I haven't had time to look at them, but there are some beautiful, it's obviously one of those collections you get, the art of knitting, and so there's a whole lot of those to go through, which I'm going to put in a folder. I've got a ring binder here because they're all got a hole in a ring binder, so there's a pile of them there to go through. I'm looking forward to that, and 2 lovely skeins of the art of knitting. So they must have, they are named after they probably came with those things, and I'm sorry, I can't read it, so I can't even tell you. They feel like wool, they're definitely wool, and I would say they're 30-40 grams. I know 25 grams, and a purple and a gold, so hat or something. I quite like purple and gold together. So thank you, Annika. It was really much appreciated. I'm going to enjoy going through those and having a look at those. And I again will take those to Knit Group again this week, so that this afternoon. Yeah. Right. Last 2 purchases, which I've talked about before. Oops, sorry. was because I was doing Stephen West's knit along with the socks, and I thought, oh my gosh, I have because I was never really a full ply knitter until recently. I always DK. DK is kind of my sweet spot for knitting. Most of my stuff is DK, but I am enjoying getting into full ply. And I've done DK socks too, so I did quite enjoy those, so I will do DK as well. But Stephen West, I think most of his are going to be full ply. So I needed to get some, listen to me, I needed to get some full ply so that I could do Stephen West's colourful socks over the year. So this is a year's worth of knitting planned. So this one here, so I brought from two. I bought one from Lisa, I'm trying to work out which is which, and one from Mariana. So I don't know whose is whose. I think these are Lisa's. Yes, they are. So, Exmoor sock yarn. Exmoor sock. And so they are just beautiful. They're very woolly. And I'm just going to have to... I'll put them in and show you like that. So, I'm sorry, I can't read it. Lisa from Unwind and Knit With Me does have a shop, and she sells all of these, and so that's two I bought from her. And she also was a sweetheart and unwound some of her wool into smaller 25 gram balls. So I have some colours, because I said to her there were so many little colours. Oh, I'm sorry, that is not Lisa's, that is I'm getting myself so mixed up here. I thought that Exmoor sock was from Lisa. That was from Mariana. Unless they've got mixed up, they may have got mixed up. Oh dear, I am so sorry. And they haven't written who they're from on the back. Let's hope it all comes out in the wash. This is definitely Mariana, I can tell by her writing. So, aren't they cute? So there's some little coloured, because, oh, where are you? There you are. So there's some more sock yarns there from Mariana from Strawberry Patches. And I did buy some, oh gosh, how am I going to do all this? Oh, let's get a pin in it somewhere. Oh, some more Exmoor sock from Mariana, Strawberry Patches. Again, beautiful. That's just a lovely neutral so that I can match. A lot of Stephen West's are like, for example, they are a fleck or a semi-toned or something with a plain. So that he does too. So that gives me lots of alternatives. But I just loved these, and so I ordered them, and I don't know what I'm going to use them for. Shawls probably, and there's a pin in one of them because I just got stabbed. Oh my god, look at those. I mean, this is heaven on in a hank. Look at that. That is just stunning, and it is so soft. So these are, Marina's dyed these herself. That one's called Sunset, and it's a 4-ply, oh, sorry Marina, 4-ply 80-20 blend. So I could use it for socks, but it's just too pretty. That has got to be a shawl. Oh, that's lovely too. That's really scrummy. That looks like chameleon. I can't read the last one. And orchid. Oh yes, that does look like orchids. So those are going to keep me amused during the winter, aren't they? I do like to have a shawl and some socks on the go. Oh, they are beautiful. They're definitely shawl material. So that's Marina's. There's a nice little nub there too. What a sweetheart. She knew I had nothing, so I mean that'd be lovely for a heel or a toe or a little bit of something in a little of something and something. Yeah. So this one must be unwind and knit. Must be. I don't know. I'm getting myself really kerfuffled. Oh no, this is. I am so getting myself confused. This one here, Sandy Ryan, Sandy, if you're there, you made me do this. She brought the most stunning wool and told me about it, and it was on special with a really good price. Gosh, it's beautiful wool. And I said, right, I just have to have it because I don't have any orange. So look at those. Now, I've got two. Merino silk, 45.25. I don't know what the other 30% is. 4-ply, gentle machine wash. And I don't have a tag, so I can't remember. That was off of Facebook. And I don't even know if that was hers. Look, I've got myself so confused. There we go. That's all my purchases. Unwind and knit with me with Lisa. Oh, Lisa has sent me some stitch markers. Thank you, Lisa. There's her card. And Mariana from, where's her logo? That's her logo there. Strawberry patches. So I have brought some from each, and also these from I don't know where. I'll find out and I'll let you know. That's really, but oh, look at that. Oh, that's going to be a summer top. So that's not in any hurry to be knitted, but it is there to be knitted in the future. Some more little ones here. Oh, these ones are from Lisa. These are definitely unwind and knit with me, and they all make beautiful socks as well, because she was a sweetheart and made some smaller ones for me. Really useful. Thank you, you lovely ladies, for the purchases and emptying my wallet, but filling my cupboards and my wardrobes and my spare room and, and making me consider buying a caravan to put in the backyard. Oh, wouldn't that be cool though, having a caravan, because it's got all the drawers and cupboards and things. You can have solar for a bit of lighting. Not that I'd go out in the cold, I'd want to sit in front of the TV. And you could just have your own space with everything in. Oh, yeah. But Stuart doesn't like caravan on the section. That, I think, is pretty much it. Here's a couple of jerseys that I thought I might knit. That I do love this gingerbread by Trudy Myrtle, Libby Johnson, and that's a DK, and I just love how there is some just nice little patterning on the ribs. So that is one that I did consider for that pinkish wool that I got from Skeins, and that's a DK. And I'd love a beret. I don't know why. I've always wanted a beret. So I printed that off. That's what's her name? Willie. No, can't read it. I'm sorry. That's part of being blind. Yeah, you just have to accept that sometimes I'm going to show you stuff that I can't read. Wow, there we go. Got through it. So lots of whips, lots of rips, frogging, lots of purchases, but that is over 3 months, and some of it were gifts. So it feels like a lot, but there was a lot of gifts and a lot of bargains. So I can bunker down over winter, and I can knit to my heart's delight without having to worry about what I'm going to choose wool wise, because it's all there waiting for me, and even right through to spring next year. I've enjoyed talking to you. I've enjoyed talking about my projects. My dress is turning out quite comfortable. I was, you know, when you've never worn something before and you think, oh, is it going to roll up here? Is it going to fall down here? It's actually been very comfortable, so that's cool. I hope you lovely people that are coming into spring and summer over in the other hemisphere are enjoying the warmer weather. I often hear podcasts where the snow's melting and they're starting to get that feeling of spring, but they're still in knitting mode, because I think, you know, even spring can be cold when you've just had snow, and we're going into winter, so enjoy your knitting and your mental health wellness. Stuart's going to go past with the lawnmower again, so we'll call it bye for now. Catch you next time. Bye.